even though they grow apart, they can still continue to have this sort of magic that they have,
yeah,
despite that they have to go on and do other things.
Right. Right. But it definitely leaves you wondering.
Who knew that Barry Levinson had packed this much into this film? I do. I swear to God, someday in my life, I will either get to meet Steve Gutenberg or Kevin Bacon or Daniel Stern or Barry Levinson himself. Yeah. And I hope I have the opportunity without, just becoming a blubbering, sweaty fanboy. I hope I can keep it together. Well, you've had the experience of meeting and personally interacting with a lot of your real heroes.
Yeah, I have. I've been very fortunate, and they've all been pretty good.
I would hope that if that moment comes to me, that I have the presence of mind to just go, guys, thank you for making a movie that has literally guided me through the better part of my adult life. I'll give you, for instance, back in 1985, I had lived in Chicago for a brief period of time, and the opportunity came along for me to go to work for a television station in Anchorage, Alaska. Yes, that Anchorage, Alaska. So I packed all my stuff into boxes and shipped my stuff up to Anchorage, Alaska, packed my little suitcase, and my best friend Bob, whom I had been living with at that time, whom I had met in college, and whom I had been through many, many diner-esque things with. He's the one that hauled me to the airport, to O'Hare Airport. And as I'm getting out of the car, he gives me a big hug, shakes my hand, and quotes directly from the movie and says, well, we've always got the diner.
Yeah.
And couldn't have been more perfectly placed at that moment in time. At that moment, he wasn't doing a piece of dialogue from a movie. He was reminding me that, no matter where we go or what we do, we always have our friendship.
Yeah.
And bing, bang, boom, couldn't have asked for better.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and it's funny how I was reading, this is one of many times that diner has kind of occurred to me. I was reading an article a while back where they were talking about how a lot of men, part of why men die faster than women a lot of times is that they can't make friends easily in adulthood.
Oh, that's very, very true.
Yeah.
I can vouch for that.
Yeah, like it's easier, I think, for us because we have built-in interests, right? Like if you meet somebody that likes this, and this, it's like, oh well, okay, that guy's okay.
Right,
he
exactly.
knows what diner is.
As opposed to, say, someone that you meet in your daily employment. Well, there you're just thrown together by circumstances.
All right.
And unless you're lucky enough to, I don't know, both be Playboy photographers,
right.
Your job isn't really a commonality that's going to be a cornerstone of a friendship.
Indeed. Yeah, it's hard to do. But I thought about that with Diner. It's like these guys, they would never be able to remanufacture that bond, at least easily. And, there's not enough said about male friendship, to be honest. I think that it's something that we would all be better off if we tried to put in a further part of our brain towards the front,
Yeah. Well, really, I think that's what the whole crux of Diner is, and why it resonates for me. Well, you've pointed me towards something that hadn't really crossed my mind in terms of the film. As you said, the movie is about young men, male bonding, like you said, guys talking about absolutely nothing, and yet talking about everything simultaneously. As you know from 1,000 stories that I've told you about my own, high school years, college years, and what have you, that despite my position as sort of a swinging rockabilly socialite in Chicago, my youth involved not a lot of friends, not a lot of socializing, not really knowing how to be friendly and sociable with people. So when I moved to Chicago, back in the 80s and met the rockabilly guys in Chicago. And like you said, we all had this commonality, this, love of Billy Lee Riley records, love of 56 Oldsmobiles. That as a starting point. And then you find yourself having these, conversations about everything and nothing all at the same time. That's where the friendship is born. Well, Diner reminds me over and over and over how fortunate I am to have the friends that I have, to have the social networks that I have, and to not take them for granted. A friendship is something that, and you see it in the movie, a friendship is something that you have to work on.
Yeah.
That you have to make a point to connect with your friends, to check in with the people that you like. And you even see it in the film. Tim Daly's character, what's the character name? Eddie, or not Eddie, Billy, who goes off to college out of town and comes back. It takes him a moment to get his feet under him to reconnect with the guys who, the other characters in the film who have stayed in Baltimore.
Yeah.
He's gone off to school in New York or somewhere.
Yeah.
But you see him, he drops right back into the harness, and yet at the same time, it's obvious that his character has had some experiences that have changed him, so he's not quite in lockstep with the guys like he used to be.
Yeah.
But still, they still have this overarching bond that will last, till the end of time.
Yeah. I like when he goes and he wakes up Steve Gutenberg, and they're in Steve Gutenberg's mother's house, and that whole thing,
It's obvious that these two guys have known each other since they are little kids. They speak in shorthand.
Right, yeah.
Out of nowhere, Steve Gutenberg says, "Am I losing my hair?" And Billy just comes back with, "Well, you still got a little up there."
Yeah.
And they move on back to the conversation that they were having.
Yeah.
But they make that little side trip just to go, "Oh yeah, we're watching out for each other."
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Every time I watch the film, and obviously, if I'm watching it twice a year since 1990, that means I've watched the film, 65 times?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Every time I watch the film, I see something that I've never seen before.
Yeah. There's little things in there to notice and to catch and to think about and sort of mull over, especially as you age and you can look at things with a little bit of different perspective.
Oh, yeah.
It's a much more finely made clock than I think most people would ever be aware of.
Oh, absolutely. There is a scene, and I hope it doesn't take me too long to set this up. The setup goes like this. Mickey Rourke's character is supposed to have sex with a local hot chick in order to win a bet. Well, the local hot chick bails out on him because she has a fever. Oh, 102. Yeah, that sounds bad.
But also, it kind of seems like she figured out that he's a dirtbag and she doesn't want to go with him.
Right. Well,
I like that that's left to be sort of a nebulous thing. Like it seems like maybe she does and maybe she doesn't.
Right. Mickey Rourke then gets together with Ellen Barkin's character, who is married to Daniel Stern, but Ellen Barkin and Mickey Rourke used to date in the past, and for whatever reason, because Ellen Barkin's character is unsure of herself at this point, and Mickey needs to win the bet, he convinces Ellen Barkin to go out on a date with him. Well, the scene where the two of them are having the conversation, where they decide to actually go on this date, which both of them kind of know is supposed to lead up to them having illicit sex. The sequence of the two of them sitting side by side and having this conversation where so much is said but so much is not said is a mind-blowing scene. It's some of the best acting you will ever see in a film between Mickey Rourke and Ellen Barkin. They only say about 10 words, but it's all in their eyes. It's all in their body language. And it's when I first watched the film a million years ago, that scene would blow right by me, and I'd be like, yeah, this is boring. Get in the cars and drive around, drive around in your Finmobiles. That's so much cooler.
Right.
But now that I'm an old man, I watch that scene, I just get chills. That scene just slays me. It absolutely slays me.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot going on there, because you were talking about a married woman,
right.
And the guy is good friends with her husband.
Absolutely.
And he's messing up. Shrevey is definitely messing up in a lot of ways.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
But then Mickey Rourke's character, Boogie, is messing up. Ellen Barkin's character, Beth, she's going down a weird road at this moment.
Right.
And this is kind of a spoiler alert.
Yeah, we're spoilers. We're all the way in.
Well, the film is from 1982.
Right.
It does work out for all the characters that there is no guilt. Bad things do not happen.
Right.
The voice of conscience awakens in all of the characters, and everything is cool.
Yeah.
And Mickey Rourke's character, Boogie, gives Ellen Barkin a little bit of advice in terms of saving her marriage, which apparently her husband, Daniel Stern, takes. And they do. You see them attempting to salvage their marriage at the end of the film.
Yeah.
So things are working out for everybody. All the kids are growing up and learning little lessons.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's a fantastic piece of work, and I wonder how many people really truly have looked at it this closely. I know that Levinson is a very revered director, and that this is something that's highly thought of by a lot of people. But I just feel like there's so much more to Diner than most people really talk about.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I think there's a lot going on there, and I think it's a film that both men and women can enjoy. And even if you're just coming at it as someone who has a fascination with the cars and the clothes and the architecture of the 50s,
yeah,
that's a great way to enjoy the film too. I learned so much about how to dress from watching this film back in 1982. Daniel Stern's character wears what I call a frumpy coat in the whole film.
Yeah.
It's an overcoat, but it's not a long overcoat. It's just long enough to cover a sport coat. I think they might have called them car coats or whatever. This is the film that taught me about those shorter overcoats, and I probably got at least a half a dozen of them in the closet. Yeah. Simply because of watching Diner.
Yeah, because it's definitely a sort of a trip through people that were not, leather jacket, jeans with a cuff, boots,
right,
ducktail. These were not those types of cats. These were
right.
These were these guys.
And I have talked with more than one person who are the kind of person who is critical of Diner because the haircuts are not quite period appropriate. And I'll give that to people. I understand that. Now, admittedly, with Mickey Rourke's character, who works in a hair salon, one of the characters, Daniel Stern's character, jokingly says to him at the diner one time, says to Mickey Rourke's character, "Ever think of doing your own hair there?"
Yeah, right, yeah.
Which is obviously a slam at the fact that Mickey Rourke's character is, like his hero Elvis, a little longer than it ought to be.
Right, yeah. He's doing his own thing. The story was
Absolutely.
that Mickey Rourke, true to form, didn't really get the movie. He didn't like the characters. He didn't like the other guys.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm surprised that you didn't know that. There's a pretty good documentary that's probably on the DVD the DVD version that you have. If not, let me know and I'll make sure you see it somehow or another. It might be on YouTube.
You got it. One of my favorite things to do, if you really want to have like whiplash in front of your TV watching movies, bust out the DVD of Diner and watch Mickey Rourke in 1982. and then immediately follow that with Mickey Rourke starring in The Wrestler.
Oh, it's insane. It's insane.